As you start listening now, you might begin to notice how easy it is to wonder. Isn't it curious how our minds, they can sometimes get caught in patterns, like a river carving its way through a valley, shaping the land, but never realizing the immense power that it holds to reshape the entire landscape. And perhaps you've been carving out this story of inferiority, maybe without realizing. The very fact you're aware of it already proves something else entirely. You see, when someone worries about arrogance, doesn't that mean they're already tuned in to the kindness? Like a lighthouse, steady, dependable, shining brightly not for itself, but to guide others safely through the dark. The mere fact that you care about the balance, wanting to be confident yet remaining humble, it already tells us something essential about who you truly are. Someone who values connection. Someone whose strength is built on understanding rather than dominance. That's worth noticing, isn't it? And as you notice this, consider this. A tree, it doesn't shrink itself to make the grass around it feel tall. No, it grows upward, reaching the sky, providing shade and oxygen. And the grass, it flourishes beneath it, grateful for its protection. Confidence is like that tree. It doesn't have to be loud or boastful. It simply exists, tall and grounded, secure in its purpose. So when you think of confidence, can you imagine it as this calm, quiet energy, a presence that says, I belong here just as I am. Now some people, they confuse confidence with arrogance. But they're as different as day and night. Arrogance shouts, look at me. Confidence whispers, I see you. When you think about it, isn't it true that arrogance needs attention because it's hollow inside? Real confidence, true confidence, doesn't need to prove anything. It simply knows. And maybe now you can start to wonder, what would it feel like to just know? To know you don't have to be perfect to be worthy. You don't have to be loud to be noticed. That by being quietly sure of yourself, like the roots of that tree, it's the kind of confidence that attracts others, inspires trust, and builds bridges. And isn't that the kind of confidence you've always admired in others? And so, if you could choose a new belief right now, and you can, can't you? What would it be like to believe that confidence and humility, they aren't opposites, but they're partners? Like the inhale and the exhale, working together in perfect harmony. Confidence says, I am enough. Humility says, and so are you. What if every step forward, it could come from that place, where you're not above anyone, but you're not beneath them either? So imagine for a moment, someone you admire, picture them in your mind. Not the loudest person in the room, but the one who radiates calm assurance. Notice how they move, how they speak, how they hold themselves. Can you see how they're not trying to prove anything? They're simply being themselves. And as you imagine them, you might start to wonder, what if you could step into that same energy? What if you could walk into any room and simply know you have a place there, just as much as anyone else? And maybe, just maybe, you've already begun to feel that shift, haven't you? Because when you stop comparing, when you stop shrinking yourself, something amazing happens. You begin to notice confidence. It isn't about being better than anyone. It's about knowing you're enough. And when you're enough, you give others permission to feel enough too. So the next time you think about confidence, let this thought grow. I can stand tall without casting a shadow. Because the world needs people like you. People who are strong but kind, certain but compassionate, confident but always human. And isn't it exciting to realize this transformation is already unfolding, like a seed planted in the soil. It doesn't have to rush. It doesn't have to force itself to grow. It simply trusts the sun will rise, the rain will fall, and it will become exactly what it was always meant to be, just like you are now. And isn't it fascinating how effortlessly the mind can begin to shift, like a kaleidoscope, where just the smallest twist reveals a completely different pattern, a different way of seeing the same pieces. And maybe now you're starting to notice something. A soft realization that confidence, it isn't about being something you're not. It's about finally allowing yourself to be who you've always been underneath. Because deep inside, there's already that knowing, isn't there? That quite unshakable part of you that doesn't need approval or permission. It's the part of you that just is. Like the mountain, solid, steady, not asking for recognition, yet commanding respect simply by existing. And maybe without even trying, you can begin to reconnect with that part of yourself now. You see, there's this curious thing about confidence. It's not something you chase, it's something you uncover. Like peeling back layers of an onion, stripping away all those old beliefs, those false ideas of inferiority, until you're left with the core of who you are. This is interesting. The core, it's always been there, waiting patiently for you to notice it. Now sometimes people think they have to force confidence, like wearing a mask or putting on a show. But masks are heavy, aren't they? Pretending to be someone you're not takes so much energy. And yet, when you simply are, when you stand tall in your own truth, it's almost effortless. Like a bird doesn't think about flying, it just flies. When you allow yourself to trust in your own wings, confidence becomes as natural as breathing. And so you might start to wonder, what if confidence isn't about doing more, but about doing less? Less doubting, less comparing, less hiding. What if right now you could simply let go of all the reasons you've held on to feeling the inferiority? Because maybe those reasons, they were never yours to carry in the first place. Maybe they were handed to you by others. Teachers, parents, peers. People who are only projecting their own doubts, their own fears. But you don't have to carry those stories anymore, do you? As you let that sink in, notice how freeing it feels to realise you've been enough all along. Not about becoming something new, it's about remembering who you already are, like a diamond buried in the earth. It doesn't need to be made, it only needs to be uncovered, polished, allowed to shine. Now think for a moment. Isn't it true that people who worry about arrogance, they're the least likely to be arrogant? Arrogance comes from insecurity, from fear, from trying to prove something. But you're not here to prove. You're here to grow. And growth is quiet, isn't it? Like a flower opening in the morning sun. Not rushing, not forcing, just allowing nature to take its course. And so you might begin to notice how easy it is to shift your focus from worrying about how others might perceive you to wondering how you can serve them, connect with them, inspire them. Because true confidence, it isn't about you. It's about what you can give to others. It's about standing so firmly in your own worth that you can reach out a hand to lift someone else up. And isn't that what you've always wanted to do? And if that's true, then consider this. What if confidence is really about trust? Trusting that you're capable. Trusting that you're enough. Trusting that you can walk into any situation and know, whatever happens, you can handle it. 'Cause haven't you already handled so much? Haven't you already overcome challenges, learned lessons, grown stronger than you ever realise? And the more you think about that now, the more you begin to notice there's a part of you that already believes this, isn't there? Even if it's just a small voice, whispering in the background, reminding you of your strength. And as that grows louder, clearer, more certain, it's as if it's saying, yes, this is who I am. I'm confident, I'm grounded, I'm enough. So imagine now, if you will, standing before a mirror, but not just any mirror, a magical mirror, a mirror that reflects not just your outer self, but your true self. The self that's wise, capable, compassionate, powerful. The self that knows it belongs. And as you look into that mirror, notice how your posture changes. Notice how your shoulders relax, your chin lifts, your eyes soften, with that quiet certainty that says, I'm here and I matter. And maybe, as you see that version of yourself, You can begin to step into it now. Feel what it's like to walk through the world as that person. Notice how differently people responded to you. Not because you're trying to impress them, but because your energy speaks for itself. And isn't it exciting to realise? This isn't something you have to work at. It's not something you have to force. It's already happening naturally, effortlessly, as you let go of the old beliefs and step into the truth of who you truly are. Like a butterfly emerging from a cocoon. You don't have to teach it how to fly. It simply knows. And you've always known, haven't you? Let these words settle, building layer upon layer of belief, as each phrase continues to ripple through the unconscious, creating new connections, new possibilities, new ways of seeing yourself. Isn't it wonderful to realise this process is already well underway?